In the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom, nestled between rolling hills and ancient groves of baobab trees, lay the village of Anidaso. The village thrived with the rhythms of drums and laughter, its people bound by tradition and a deep reverence for their ancestors. But the story that would echo through the generations began with one man, Prince Kwame Boadu. Prince Kwame, the only son of the mighty King Owusu, was born into opulence. His father ruled with wisdom and a firm hand, his palace adorned with gold that sparkled like the midday sun. As the heir to the throne, Kwame's life was paved with luxury. From an early age, he was showered with gifts, silken Kent cloth, intricate beads, and the finest foods from every corner of the kingdom. But Kwame was no ordinary prince. He possessed a charm that bewitched everyone who crossed his path. His skin glistened like polished ebony, and his smile could disarm even the sternest elder. His voice was like the melody of the atompan drums, drawing people closer with every word. Yet, behind his allure lay a streak of mischief and insatiable desire. As Kwame grew older, his father entrusted him with overseeing village affairs. It was a role meant to groom him for kingship, but it also granted him power that he wielded with abandon. Wherever he went, women whispered his name, their eyes gleaming with a mixture of awe and yearning. Kwame, ever the opportunist, took full advantage of his status. The first to fall under his spell was Abina, the daughter of the village's chief farmer. She was known for her beauty, her laughter as bright as the morning sun. Kwame met her during a festival celebrating the yam harvest. Draped in his finest Kent, he approached her with the confidence of a lion. "Abina," he said, his voice low and smooth, "your beauty rivals that of the golden stool itself. Would you honor me with a dance?" Blushing, she accepted. That night, under the light of the full moon, Kwame whispered promises of love and a life of luxury. By morning, Abina was his. Word of their union spread quickly, but Kwame's affections were as fleeting as the harmattan winds. Soon, he turned his attention to Akojua, a weaver whose skill with thread was unmatched. Then to Ajoa, a fiery young woman who could wrestle any man in the village and win. And so it went, one conquest after another. Kwame's escapades became the talk of Anidaso. The elders whispered their disapproval, but his wealth and charm silenced open criticism. After all, he was the prince, and his dalliances brought gifts to the families of the women he courted. Bags of cowries, boats of cloth, and livestock all were tokens of his fleeting devotion. But not everyone was enchanted by Kwame's ways. Nana Yaa, the village priestess, watched his actions with growing concern. She was a woman of great power, her eyes said to see beyond the veil of the physical world. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the village in hues of orange and gold, Nana Yaa called a meeting of the elders. "This path Prince Kwame treads," she said, her voice like the rustle of leaves, "will lead to ruin. The ancestors are displeased. A man who sows chaos in the hearts of women sows chaos in the land." The elders nodded, their faces etched with worry. Yet, confronting the prince was no small matter. Kwame was the king's son, the future of the Ashanti Kingdom. How could they chastise him without invoking his father's wrath? Meanwhile, Kwame's exploits continued. Each woman he courted believed she was special, destined to be his queen. But once he had his fill, he moved on, leaving behind broken hearts and whispers of betrayal. His palace quarters, adorned with golden carvings and rich tapestries, became a revolving door of admirers. Among those who fell for his charm was Esi, the daughter of a humble potter. Unlike the others, Esi was known for her wit and sharp tongue. When Kwame approached her at the riverbank, his usual compliments rolled off her like water from a calabash. "Do you think your gold makes you better than the rest of us?" she challenged, her eyes blazing. "Kwame, taken aback, laughed. "You have spirit, ESI. I like that." Despite her resistance, even ESI couldn't escape his spell. Yet, their union was different. ESI's sharp mind kept Kwame on his toes, and for a while, it seemed she might be the one to tame him. But old habits die hard. When ESI discovered his continued infidelities, she confronted him in front of the entire village. "You dishonor not just me, but yourself, Kwame Boadu," she cried. "Is this the legacy you wish to leave? A trail of sorrow and disgrace?" Her words struck a chord, and for the first time, Kwame felt the weight of his actions. Yet, his pride would not allow him to admit fault. Instead, he stormed back to the palace, his heart heavy with a guilt he could not name. That night, Kwame dreamed of a vast forest, its trees towering and ancient. In the heart of the forest stood Nana Yaa, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "Kwame Boadu," she said, her voice echoing through the trees, "you have squandered the gift of your ancestors. If you do not change your ways, your wealth and charm will turn to ash, and your name will be forgotten." Startled, Kwame awoke, his body drenched in sweat. The dream haunted him, its message clear yet difficult to accept. For days, he wandered the village in silence, his usual bravado replaced by introspection. The women he had wronged avoided his gaze, their once adoring eyes now filled with contempt. One evening, he sought out Nana Yaa. Kneeling before her, he spoke with a humility he had never shown before. "I have wronged my people and the ancestors," he admitted. "Teach me how to make amends." Nana Yaa regarded him for a long moment before speaking. "To heal the wounds you have caused, you must first humble yourself. Serve the people you have wronged. Only through service and sincerity can you reclaim your honor." And so, Prince Kwame began a journey of redemption. He walked alongside the farmers, toiling under the sun. He carried water from the river, his once soft hands blistered and calloused. He built huts, mended broken tools, and sought forgiveness from the women he had wronged, offering not gold but heartfelt apologies. Over time, the villagers began to see a change in him. His arrogance gave way to humility, his charm replaced by genuine kindness. The women he had hurt found closure, their wounds slowly healing. And when Kwame smiled, it was no longer the smile of a predator but of a man who had found peace within himself. Years later, when King Owusu passed and Kwame ascended the throne, he ruled with wisdom and compassion. He became a king beloved by his people, his name sung in praises long after his death. The story of Prince Kwame Boadu became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the perils of excess and the power of redemption. And so, the village of Anidaso thrived, its people united by the lessons of their prince-turned king. The ancestors, appeased at last, blessed the land with abundance, and the Ashanti Kingdom flourished under Kwame's reign. For in his journey, the prince had learned the greatest truth of all, that true wealth lay not in gold, but in the hearts of his people.